Death in Venice is Britten's last opera. And he was actually rather ill at the time that he wrote it. He, in fact, persuaded doctors to delay heart surgery that he desperately needed, because he said, I just have to finish this piece. And he was clearly very worried that he wouldn't. So they agreed to do that, and I think the general consensus is that in fact that delay in the surgery did shorten his life. So the Death in Venice was written at the beginning of the 1970s, and he died in 1976. So it was really it's a very interesting piece in that sense, in that you get the impression that it's an opera about a man who, for quite a lot of the piece, is dying himself, and of course it very much reflects Britten's own situation at the time.
Aschenbach is a writer, a man of a certain age, probably mature years, but not old, and he has writer's block, and he is at the beginning of the piece walking around in the suburbs of Munich where he lives, thinking about the fact that he's run out of words, and then he meets, or maybe thinks he meets, a shadowy, odd character who he calls a traveller, and this man puts something into his mind about going away, and going away to Venice in this case. And Aschenbach had been to Venice before, of course, and he thinks that might be the answer to his block. So he goes to Venice, and he goes to a very marvellous hotel on the Lido, and he is there with a lot of other people. The weather's not very great, bit of scirocco around, smelly canals. There are lots of very bourgeois families, including a family of Poles, and there's a rather beautiful boy, and he notices this boy in an aesthetic sense. That's how it begins anyway, but then it becomes a little more serious, because he begins to have feelings for this boy which he hasn't experienced before. He makes a point at one point that he's a widower and he has a married daughter, and he becomes obsessed by this boy. At the same time, there is sickness in Venice, because it's the time when there was still plague and cholera in Europe, and there's an epidemic, and he really should leave, but because of his obsession with the boy, he can't bear to leave, and in fact he doesn't even he should tell the family about it, but he doesn't share his knowledge. He has quite good knowledge of what's going on from a man in the Thomas Cook travel agent who tells him that he should leave. But he doesn't share this with the family, and they actually do leave, but for him it's too late, and he actually dies in the hotel, sitting in the chair, watching Tadzio on the beach. Tadzio's the name of the boy. So he dies for love, you might say. So that's it in a sort of fairly in a nutshell.